Hey everybody, this is Benjamin from Be Imagine Music Studio, downtown Haverhill, coming at you with my Song of the Week, January 1st, 2018. We're going to be working on Auld Syne, the New Year's Eve song everybody sings when the clock strikes midnight. It's an anonymous Scottish piece. And so we're going to talk about some of the things you can do with it, but first I'll tell you what I got excited about and worked on, which is what you just heard a little piece of, is my tapping arrangement. Now if you click the link below, I'll put it under the YouTube clip to get to my other YouTube video of me playing and tapping it. And it sounds okay, worked it out. I was doing this with a few different pieces. Now, how did I go about doing this? I had a heck of a lot of fun. I found the sheet music and it was in the key of C, and I started beginning to learn the melody. And I realized the highest note in the melody was this A, which of course, you know, then I could put it up an octave. Now, when I'm tapping, if I'm having to tap in this area, it just stretches my hand so much that it can hurt. So I wanted to find a way to tap it as high up as possible. Now, I realized this after trying very hard to play it in C and doing these enormous stretches. So I worked at it and hurt myself for a while, but then I finally decided, let me put it to the highest key I can fit the guitar. Now my guitar, the highest note I have is at the 22nd fret. It's a D note. So in the key of C, which is the key I had the piece, the melody note was an A note. Now what number is the A note in the C major scale? I'll give you a second to figure it out. Or maybe you'll have to pause it because I don't want to wait. It's the 6th note in the scale. So I said to myself, what scale would I need to look at that would have D as the 6th note in the scale? You can pause it if you want to figure it out before I tell you, which is the key of F. So I used my Finale print music program to just change the key to the key of F. And then I found that my highest melody note was way up at this D note, and now the stretching was not quite as difficult as it was at first. So then I went about starting to learn to play the melody on the high end and tapping it with my right hand like this. You know, and but then I realized another aspect is when I play my tapping, it ends up being in triplets. So I realized that every quarter note was going to get 2 sets of triplets, and every 8th note would get 1 triplet. So I really had to learn to get the spacing and the rhythms right. Now the first note that we see in the melody here is a C note, and then we're going to go to an F note. So I chose C located right here at the 13th fret of the B string, and then F on the 13th fret of the E string. Now, when you learn this, it's really exciting. I found that I was never very good at tapping at all, and it's because I never went after it. So I thought I would improve my what I was lacking at by really coming up with an interesting strategy to have fun at learning it. And I thought arranging this piece helped a lot. Now another thing that comes in quite handy though is really thinking about the fretboard in letters. You don't want to be thinking of the fretboard forever in numbers, like that this is the 15th fret. You really got to get to know that this is a G note. And when you do this exercise, boy, you really get to know the notes on the high 3 strings so much better than ever. In fact, I think the whole piece I only play on the high 2 strings. So my first melody note was a C note, and I knew I wanted to play an F chord underneath it. So I have C, and now here's where those triads come into play. We've been talking about learning your triads. What is the F triad? F-A-C. So I already have a C note, then I have F note and A note left, and I thought that I'd play this A note here and the F note here. So now I got C, A, F. I'm basically playing an arpeggio. And then I move on to an F chord on the high string, and this arpeggio though has F as the melody. So what am I left with A and C? So I play my C right here and an A right here, and now I got. Then the melody note's a G note, but it's got a C chord, so I didn't pay any attention to the 7ths, I just kept it major and pretty. So C, E, G, I'm already tapping a G, so I needed an E and a C, so I moved up to here. Back to my F chord, Now this is a really cool moment because what I'm about to have to pull off is 3 different F chord, all the 3 inversions. I begin with F, C, A, then I come way up to A, F, C, then I come even farther up to C, A, F. So it's really neat how I'm playing the root, and then the 5th, and then the 3rd. And then up here I'm tapping the 3rd and pulling to the root and the 5th, so I get a stretch of 4th, whereas before I only had to do that minor 3rd stretch. And then the final one gets me stretching a major 3rd and tapping the 5th at the top and the 3rd and the root. So you learn so much by doing something like that. Now, what might you do with Auld Lang Syne? Well, a guitar player usually does 3 things, 3 different paths you can go down. You can try them all. One of them is to play the melody, of course. Now, I think it would be much better for us to look at this melody in the key of C. This is for you young readers, especially. So reading this melody, you know, you got... blah, blah, blah. You know what to do. Don't forget with that dotted quarter note followed by the 8th note to play strike, ghost, up, down, you know. It's an important rhythmic thing that we've talked about, I'm sure. So yeah, you learn the melody for the whole piece and it sounds really cool. Then the next thing that I would do is say to myself, well, a second thing a guitar player can do is to learn the chords. So then you play the chords for the whole piece. Yeah, it's an important thing to learn the chords for it and see if you can do that. Then if you really want to play something a little bit more advanced, the third thing a guitar player can do is to play a chord melody. Now when I'm doing my tapping thing, that's pretty much a chord melody. But what we'll talk about is some other ways to play Auld Lang Syne as a chord melody. I did another video you can see on YouTube if you check out the Be Imagined pages where I play it folk style like. The way I do that is usually on an acoustic guitar, but my thumb plays the bass notes, and then in the high end my right hand fingers play the melody. I might add in some extra harmony here and there, like an open G note or whatever. So if you'd like, we could learn that someday. But another thing you could try, very simple, let's see if I can pull it off real quick. I might not play the whole thing. Let's see. Play a chord melody where you are strumming the chord and keeping the melody at the top, like this. See if you can finish it maybe on your own, or we'll talk about it at your lesson. So those are all the things you can do with a cool song like Auld Lang Syne. You could learn the melody, you can learn the chord progression, and then you could also create a chord melody. So you can do this with any song. It's just good to learn the inner workings of music more and more. One thing you may learn about as you're looking at a piece like this is how it's in the key of C. The first chord is a C chord, it's the 1 chord. Then we have G7, and what chord is that? Well, that's the 5 chord. Goes back to C, which is the 1, and what's F? The 4 chord. We see A minor in there, which is the 6 chord. Towards the end, that's so cool how they have the E major or the E7. Is that in the key of C? No, because E minor would be the 3 chord in the key of C. It's the 3 as a dominant, but resolves so nice to that 6 as minor. So these are other things to learn about, really important. Getting to know the language of the chord changes and chord progressions. So anyways, hope to do this each week and share with you a little bit extra information, something you can keep coming back to and watching again and again. And work at your music this week and have some fun. Take care.